The living room clock ticked softly as I set down the tea tray. My son and his wife were already at the door, coats on, smiles too bright. "Mom, we'll just be gone a few hours," my son David said smoothly. "Can you watch Lily?" "Of course," I replied, brushing a strand of gray hair behind my ear. Babysitting my granddaughter was never a chore. It was joy. They left in a rush, car engine fading down the street. I settled on the couch, flipping through a photo album, when a tiny voice whispered at my elbow, "Grandma." I turned. Lily, only 9 years old, her eyes wide and worried, leaned close. "I heard Mommy and Daddy talking last night." Her voice trembled. "They said they're taking you to a home today, and they're going to take your money." The words slammed into me like ice water. "What?" I breathed, gripping the arm of the couch. Lily nodded earnestly. "They think I was asleep, but I heard. They said you're too old to live alone, that they'll handle your bank account. They were laughing, Grandma." My blood ran cold. David, my son. The boy I had raised through scraped knees and schoolyard fights, the one I stayed up sewing clothes for, the one I fed when his father walked out on us. And now, he and his wife plotting to strip me of everything, even my dignity. I swallowed hard, forcing a smile for Lily. "Thank you for telling me, sweetheart." Inside, however, something shifted. Grief curdled into fury. Fury sharpened into resolve. If they thought I would go quietly into some nursing home while they raided my accounts, they had no idea who they were dealing with. If you're watching this, drop a comment, hit like, and subscribe. Because sometimes betrayal doesn't come from strangers. It comes from your own blood. My name is Eleanor. I am 66 years old. And that day, I decided if my son wanted a war, he was going to get one. For years, I had lived simply. A modest house paid off long ago. A pension carefully stretched. Savings tucked away from decades of working as a nurse. I didn't flaunt it, but I wasn't poor either. And perhaps that's what made me a target. David had grown greedy over the years. His wife, Monica, only fed that greed. Together, they lived beyond their means, new cars, designer clothes, vacations they couldn't afford. They often asked me for small loans, and I gave, because that's what mothers do. But this wasn't a loan. This was theft. A theft wrapped in betrayal. As soon as Lily ran off to play, I went into my bedroom and locked the door. I opened the small safe tucked into my closet. Inside, bank records, the deed to my house, my will. I stared at them for a long moment. Then I picked up the phone. "Mr. Delgado?" I said when my lawyer answered. "It's Eleanor. I need to make some immediate changes. Today." By the time David and Monica returned that evening, my plan was already in motion. They burst in with fake cheer, grocery bags in hand, like actors on a stage. "How was she?" Monica asked, her smile stretched thin. "Perfect as always," I said smoothly, ruffling Lily's hair. "She's a treasure." David leaned against the counter, studying me too closely. "You look tired, Mom. Maybe it really is time to think about other arrangements." My jaw clenched. "Arrangements?" He cleared his throat. "You know, assisted living, somewhere safe. You'd be taken care of." Monica chimed in quickly. "And we'd handle the house, of course, the bills, the assets." I met her gaze, holding it. She flinched first. "Is that so?" I said softly. "Yes," she stammered. "It's for your own good." My smile didn't reach my eyes. "We'll see about that." That night, I tucked Lily into bed and kissed her forehead. "Grandma," she whispered, "are they really going to take you away?" I squeezed her hand. "Not if I can help it, darling." Because the next morning, I would ensure that everything I had worked for was beyond their reach. The following day, I met Mr. Delgado at his office downtown. He adjusted his glasses as I explained what I wanted. "Transfer the house into a trust," I said firmly, "and lock the accounts under my control only. No power of attorney, no shared access." He raised an eyebrow. "Expecting a storm?" It's already here, I replied. By the time I left, the documents were filed. Legal, binding, untouchable. Days later, David and Monica arrived unannounced. Their faces were tight, their smiles gone. "Mom," David began, "we need to talk about your future." I folded my hands calmly on the kitchen table. "Oh, do tell." He exchanged a glance with Monica before continuing. "It's not safe for you to live alone. We found a facility." "Very nice. We'll help you move this week." Monica leaned forward, voice syrupy. "And don't worry, we'll take care of your accounts. Everything will be handled." I let the silence stretch until the tension choked the room. Then I smiled. "That won't be necessary." David frowned. "What do you mean?" I slid a folder across the table, freshly notarized documents. "The house is no longer mine to give. It's in trust. The accounts are sealed. If you try to touch them, you'll be facing fraud charges." Their faces blanched. What did you do?" Monica hissed. "I protected myself," I said calmly. "From you." David's hands curled into fists. "We're your family." "And family doesn't plot to throw their mother into a home to steal her money," I shot back. The silence that followed was deafening. They stormed out, slamming the door behind them. I stood in the quiet, heart pounding, but a smile tugged at my lips. Because they thought they'd cornered me. But I had turned the trap back on them. And this was only the beginning. The house was quiet after David and Monica stormed out, but my mind was anything but. Betrayal from your own child is a wound no bandage can cover. Yet anger steadied me. They had underestimated me, mistaking age for weakness, silence for surrender. I wasn't going to let them win. The next week, I visited my bank in person. "No online transfers," I instructed. "No joint access. If anyone calls pretending to be me, you contact me directly." The manager nodded, impressed by the fire in my tone. Then I did something bolder. I met with Mr. Delgado again and rewrote my will. "Remove David," I said, my hand steady. "If he wants to treat me like a burden, then he won't inherit a cent. Instead, I'll create a scholarship fund for nurses, for single mothers, for kids like Lily who dream bigger than their parents' greed." Mr. Delgado adjusted his glasses and smiled faintly. "It seems you've already chosen your legacy." "Yes," I replied, "a legacy my son can't touch." Days later, David returned. Alone this time. His voice was softer, but his eyes restless. "Mom," he began, "I think we got off on the wrong foot. Monica. She pushes hard sometimes, but I love you. I just want what's best." I tilted my head. "What's best for you or for me?" He hesitated. That was all the answer I needed. "You were ready to put me in a home," I said. "Don't bother pretending otherwise. Lily told me." His jaw clenched. "She's just a kid. She misunderstood." "No, David," I said firmly. "Children don't misunderstand betrayal. They feel it. She heard exactly what you planned." He dropped his gaze, shame flickering, but not enough to change him. Greed had its claws too deep. 2 nights later, I staged my move. I invited David and Monica to dinner. Lily sat at the table too, her eyes darting nervously between us. I served roast chicken, mashed potatoes, the meal David loved as a boy. For an hour, the air was thick with forced politeness. Finally, Monica leaned in. "So, Eleanor," she said sweetly, "have you thought more about the facility? It really would take a weight off your shoulders." I set down my fork. "Actually, yes, I've made all the arrangements." Her smile spread like a snake uncoiling. "That's wonderful." "Yes," I said evenly. "The trust is finalized, the accounts are secured, and the will is rewritten. You'll find none of it includes either of you." The color drained from her face. David's fork clattered against his plate. "What?" he sputtered. "You heard me," I said calmly. "Every cent is protected. When I die, not a dime goes to you. Instead, it will go to people who need it. Scholarships, charities, and most importantly, Lily." Lily's eyes widened. "Me?" I smiled warmly at her. Yes, sweetheart, you'll be taken care of. No one will ever be able to take what's meant for you. Monica shot to her feet, fury twisting her features. You can't do this. We're your family. No, I said, my voice sharp. Family doesn't plot to abandon me in a home while stealing my money. Family doesn't laugh about it behind my back. David buried his face in his hands. Monica stormed toward the door, muttering curses under her breath. Come on, David, she snapped. This old woman has lost it. But David didn't move. He stayed seated, eyes red, lips pressed tight. Mom, he whispered, did you really cut me out? I met his gaze, my heart heavy but resolute. Yes, you left me no choice. The fallout was swift. Monica filed for separation within weeks, unable to stomach the loss of imagined wealth. David tried calling, sending apologetic texts, begging to meet. But I ignored most of them. Because apologies made under the weight of desperation aren't apologies. They're survival tactics. I wasn't going to be manipulated again. Instead, I turned my energy toward building my new legacy. I worked with Mr. Delgado to set up the Eleanor Briggs Foundation, a fund that would grant scholarships to nursing students. Every dollar I'd once feared my son would squander now had purpose. Lily visited often. She would sit beside me at the kitchen table, coloring while I sorted through foundation paperwork. Grandma, she said once, her voice small, will Daddy still see me? Of course, I said gently. But now he has to learn how to be better. And maybe one day he'll understand why I did this. Her little hand slipped into mine. I'm glad you're not going away. Tears stung my eyes. So am I, sweetheart. Months passed. David showed up on my porch one autumn evening, looking thinner, more worn. I lost her, he said simply. Monica's gone. Took what little money I had left. I have nothing. I studied him carefully. For the first time in years, I saw a glimmer of humility. Not greed, not entitlement, just a man finally facing the wreckage of his own choices. You still have Lily, I reminded him. And if you want to be part of her life, you'd better prove you can be the father she deserves, not the son I had to protect myself from. He lowered his head, tears slipping down his cheeks. I'll try, Mom. I'll try. I didn't hug him. Not yet. Some wounds take longer to heal. But for the first time, I believed he might mean it. At night, when the house is quiet, I reflect on everything. I think of the trap they set for me. I think of the little girl brave enough to warn her grandmother. And I think of how close I came to losing everything, to losing myself. But instead, I chose differently. I fought back. I secured my life, my dignity, and my legacy. And I proved to myself, and to them, that I would never again be anyone's victim. Have you ever faced betrayal? Share your story in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Revenge is refusing silence forever.